Welcome to the Daily Exchange. We're talking about shitcoins, spotting them, ICO scams, and KuCoin Invest in Australia. We'll see you guys right after this. Welcome back, guys. Bitcoin has been trading way down, so far down. In fact, it almost touched, did go below $6,000 over the weekend. It is trading, sorry, not below 6,000, below 6,200 over the weekend. It is trading at $6,315. Ethereum at $199.50. Almost over 200 bucks again. Welcome back, Ethereum. Where'd you go? Bitcoin was trading as low as $185 over the weekend. It was in serious hurt territory. EOS back up to $5.05. Bitcoin Cash at $484. And Ripple at 27 cents. Ethereum Classic, always a question mark, $11.34. I just keep talking about Ethereum Classic and yet I never do anything about it. It is quite a volatile market right now. In terms of shorts, we are slightly progressing back up right now in terms of shorts on the market. They did come down quite a bit. Longs are, there was a recent jump here you can see in longs. Someone is taking quite a long position, but they were falling quite a lot over the weekend, as you can see. In terms of volatility, the volatility of Bitcoin right now on a 24-hour graph is starting to go back up. In other words, there are quite a bit of movements. You can see this big movement over the 6th and 7th with wide ranges. The volatility, on the other hand, is starting to come back up. It was real quiet back here in early September, starting to pick back up. Could see some potential. Will we see some movements? Will we not? Not sure. This is obviously a backward-looking graph. You never know with that one. You can see here Bitcoin has been testing those lows there at $6,125. We are really sort of pulling down, then pulling up, then pulling down, then up. It's a little bit of an unusual situation going on here. Who knows where that's going to go. I guess in terms of over the week, we did see a bit of news with Goldman Sachs calling fake news. Backed, obviously, the ICE exchange coming out in November. The SEC ruling on the ETF by the CBOE and Van Eck on the 30th of September. So that comes up in 20 days, that ETF ruling. Has obviously been postponed. Doesn't seem to have any effect right now, unfortunately, or fortunately, on the market. We did see a big jump last week right down, where we really came down from that 7,300 mark. And I think that really was a bit of a whiplashing on the market. On Sunday, the SEC did come out and ordered to suspend trading of the Swedish Bitcoin exchange traded notes, the ETN, on Sunday. Bitcoin Tracker 1 and Ether Tracker 1. Citing that it's in the public interest because there's confusion among the participants. And I quote from the SEC, the broker-dealer application materials submitted to enable the offer and sale of these financial products in the United States, as well as certain trading websites, characterize them as exchange-traded funds. Other public sources characterize the issuers as exchange-traded notes. By contrast, the issuer characterizes them as non-equity linked certificates. So there's a lot of confusion right now, and so they're going to get pulled by the SEC. In terms of background, these ETNs, which are live on the Stockholm NASDAQ exchange, have been increasingly courting US investors to get in on cryptocurrency. In more breaking news right now in the last few hours, Business Insider has reported that Citigroup is launching a new instrument called the Digital Asset Receipt, the DAR. DAR. The DAR. 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 Joel, we've got a screenshot here of Business Insider reporting this. It could be a game changer, I guess. It's similar to the American Depository Receipt. Citigroup is reportedly creating this, which is quite interesting. It'll give US investors the ability to invest in cryptocurrency, like the the American Depository Receipt, which allowed them to invest, Americans that is, to invest in foreign stocks. So Citigroup on a bit of innovation, snatching it from Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan's mouth to rally up in the cryptocurrency space. Could obviously bring in a bit of Wall Street action on that. The big question right now, which way is Bitcoin going to go? Are we going to go up or are we going to go down? We're in this weird limbo place. Joel, do you like playing limbo?
No, not really.
Not really
I'm
limbo
not very
kind of
good
guy.
at it.
$6,315 is one of those marks. Where are we testing? Are we testing up? Are we testing down? You know, the market was really coming back for a while there. We were really feeling it. I think there was a lot of bullish sentiment, but now I think everyone's getting a little scared again. You know, if you go back June 2018, we were just under $6,000. And could we get there again? We'll see what happens. It's one of those treacherous times in cryptocurrency. Ethereum right now really hit that 12-month low of $185 over the weekend. And, you know, this is one of those things, you know, you can see actually Ethereum just clocked over $200 again right then. Welcome back, Ethereum. Welcome back. You know, you can see obviously there's a bit of green there, but at that 24-hour mark doesn't really show. There's been some absolute tragedy going on. Now, one of the reasons that's been driving this Ethereum down is that a lot of the ERC20 based tokens, which have raised money in Ethereum, have been said to be selling their Ethereum. We've got this website called DApp Capitulation, and it lists each of the ICOs. So say like Tezos, it's got 203,000 Ethereum, and how much of it they've sent or raised or over the last 180 in one day. You can see a lot of them. PayPal has no Ethereum left. Metronome has 23,000. There's a lot of people like this. Digix2 has 395,000 Ethereum sitting in there, and they're not doing anything with it. Polkadot has 306,000 Ethereum. It's a lot of Ethereum. EOS has no Ethereum left. Gnosis has 109,000. Kyber 81,000. There's a lot of Ethereum still potentially out there. This is a little bit buggy, this data, but it just gives you an idea that potentially there are a lot of Ethereum that could still be sold. And I guess, you know, this market is really moving from that speculation phase to a real actual adoption phase. Vitalik Buterin was quoted over the weekend when he was speaking to Bloomberg recently, sorry, not over the weekend, just recently, saying blockchain space is getting to the point where there's a ceiling in sight. If you talk to the average educated person at this point, they probably have heard of blockchain at least once. There isn't an opportunity for yet another 1,000 times growth in anything in the space anymore. It's really harsh by Vitalik to say something like that, considering there are some incredible projects. And potentially he sees that because, you know, if he built that Ethereum and everyone's trying to rebuild that Ethereum or that next coin that does that, maybe he doesn't want anyone else to take over his place, which I can understand. And unfortunately, right now, there are a lot of short bets going on for Ethereum. If you click on over here and check this out, Ethereum shorts are going through the roof. We've gone from 115,000 shorts now to 238,000. That's double the number of shorts over the last 5 days with Ethereum. People are not exactly long on Ethereum right now. Bitcoin, on the other hand, in terms of shorts, has been trading up slightly, but you can see it's kind of steadied out. Normally, as I said before, we've seen in the show, when we hit that 40,000 mark for shorts on a Bitcoin, we tend to have a big, I guess, move by someone who's, I guess, got a very strong position. Strong position, Joel. No manipulation at work around here. None at all. Ethereum, I guess, has been proposing 2.0. And they've put a roadmap out, and this new article that's come out, Ethereum 2.0, and how it's going to be built. Do check it out. And you can see there are some new models in terms of how the protocol will sit. It's very, very cool. Proof of stake, sharding, and more. It is going to take quite some time to build all this stuff. And as you can see, there's a lot of research going on behind the scenes in terms of how Ethereum could scale. Whether or not it can is still to be debated, whether just another technology could just surpass it much, much faster. We will see. Obviously, Ethereum, like we saw on the show with George Salmon, has a number, and you can see back in our videos, in terms of what the sacrifices are that Ethereum are making versus other blockchains. Ethereum obviously being very secure, not very scalable, but being decentralized. Whereas the other blockchains have a bit more centralization, but more speed and more scale. Obviously, if you're looking at, as I said, Ethereum right now, it is seriously under duress from the ICOs. Checking out ICOs. So we're going to talk about them quite a bit in terms of scams, shitcoins, and things like that. You can see here this post by Kevin Rook: 46% of planned ICOs fail to raise money, 40% of planned ICOs raise over $1 million, and 79% of seed startups have failed to raise Series A. So let's have a look at this graph here. You can see that the 890, down the bottom left here, 890 ICOs failed to raise even $1. So most of them, it's very rare for them to make big, it's actually more of them not raising money rather than raising money. And I think over the last at least month, there's a lot of ICOs that haven't raised money. I can think of ones that, probably like 18 to 20 of them that have, whereas most of them I think are not raising money. You can see that from this post, startup failures, you can see raising A. There's a lot of failure out here. It's definitely slowed down a lot and obviously that'll affect Ethereum as well in terms of how interested people are in terms of buying it and using it to raise money for their ICOs. There's a really great post as well by Howard Marks in terms of, is the ICO dead? And obviously long live the ICO 2.0. And they go on to talk about the new models. Howard Marks was the CEO of crowdfunding firm Start Engine, who also was the co-founder of the big video company Activision Blizzard, which obviously brought out World of Warcraft. Big shout out to World. Which side, Joel, did you play with World of Warcraft?
I was all about the Horde.
The Horde.
Yep.
Me too.
Yes.
Me too. There's no chance I'm going to be like the humans. It's too boring. I want to mess up some humans.
Exactly.
Little history on making the ICO. You can see they go on to talk about some new models. So we've got the SAFT agreement, we've got the rate agreement, the SAFE agreement, and I think this is a fantastic post in terms of how they can crack down on these different new models, which I think most ICOs should take a look at. We'll post, obviously, all these links in the video below, guys. Do check it out. I think it's a really, really good article in terms of the future of ICOs. I guess moving on as well, FINRA in the US has come out with how to spot an ICO or a crypto scam. And they've got certain tips here. Suggest you have a look at them in terms of, are you getting cold called? Are they making guarantees? Check out the registration status on their website here. You can check out the Edgar database from the SEC, whether the company files with the SEC. There's all sorts of really good suggestions here, do strongly suggest to check it out. Most stock pump and dump schemes tend to be quoted on an over-the-counter quotation platform like OTC Markets, which provides icons to warn investors of concerns associated with a given company. Wow. Limited information and caveat emptor. Wow. It's cool stuff. And I just wanted to bring you guys' attention. This is a great article written on Finder in terms of how to spot a scam and all the different types of scam that are out there, malware scams, and how to avoid them. Do check this article out. Fake imitation wallets. There's some really good little tips there to help you prevent you from getting scammed. Obviously, this is something that's continuously changing, and you want to do your own research. I want to talk about, in terms of in the EU, they're really cracking down on these scams. Ashley Fox, as a member of the European Parliament, is pushing for a unified set of rules in terms of mandating KYC and AML, only allowing 8 million euros to be raised, and intermediaries providing due diligence as well. All right, we're going to move on. In terms of, this is all about how do you spot a shitcoin scam? How do you spot a shitcoin scam? First up, Kevin Rook, obviously, which we talked about before, he has mentioned something quite controversial. Again, there are only, of the top 400 ICOs, sorry, top 400 coins out there, these are the ones where only 400 or more wallets were actually used. So just to give you an idea, Ripple isn't mentioned here because there was no data able to be gotten from their blockchain. But you can see these are the kind of coins that potentially will do things and actually where there is movement. Whereas, you know, some of these other coins that are out there, maybe they're not really a thing. If less than 400 addresses are actually being used, maybe it's not actually something that's going to happen. And this is really cool data from OnChainFX. It's an interesting way of looking at it is how many addresses are actually operating with the blockchain. And we'll post that OnChainFX link into the article as well. You remember the CNBC presenter Meltem Demirors? Melton. She posted a really good Twitter storm recently talking about, it's a massive one actually. She talks about all about cryptos. You know, you can see this if you invested back in 2015, what would happen with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, and how you'd be up so much. And everyone's looking for that, right? Everyone's trying to find the next Ripple, the next coin. And you know, if you take a coin like even, you know, DentaCoin, some dentistry thing, it used to be worth $21 billion. That's a lot of money. And now it's definitely pulled back a lot, maybe even worth too much in and of itself. Is it being used? Well, it's definitely not got more than 400 addresses using it. And, you know, I think this is what most people are doing. A lot like why people selling them. You know, obviously easy money to print, engineers trying to be economists. And, you know, and just poor ideas that are floating around. It's a really interesting post, and you know, it's something which you want to be really careful of in terms of how that's sort of operating. Obviously, ICOs are still seen as being a massive investment, but I think right now everyone's heard way, way more than that. This is probably old data. And I definitely think, you know, this is how it sort of rolls. Early funders, larger ones, the last people come in, the exchange goes up, and then everyone starts dumping it, and out it goes. And that's what's been happening. That is exactly what's been happening in this market. Is the shitcoin slide out the door. So the way I really look at this, and what I, you know, this is not financial advice, but if you do thinking about these things, if you look at any coin that is telling you that the velocity of the usage of the coin will make it go up in value, pretty sure that's going to be a shitcoin. There's only a few of those that are going to actually do that. It needs lots and lots of addresses to be able to do that, like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Otherwise, very little chance. If it's a utility just for utility's sake, that's like a time zone token, probably not going to do terribly well. And if there's already, like many of these other projects already out there, what is the competitive difference as to why this will survive and why it won't? And why it won't be just another frozen yogurt stand that looks like everywhere else and sells frozen yogurt? Probably going to go to zero as well. Strongly suggest strongly suggest there are going to be a lot more coins and a lot more legal cases coming out right now in terms of ICOs that have raised money and ICOs that need to be shut down and wound back. Just in terms of trading news, Singapore exchange KuCoin has invested $3 million in a local exchange, Bitcoin Australia, which is very interesting in terms of it entering the local market. ASIC has obviously reaffirmed it's keen to get close still and having a very close look at these ICOs and other token offerings. I don't know, Joel, if you want to bring up the... yeah, here's the $3 million. And the ASIC, obviously watching ICOs heavily, do check that out. And they're trying to minimize, obviously, consumer harm rather than a broad crackdown as such. And I guess finally, we have HiveX.com has recently released some news that the Australian, from some surveys we've just done recently, that potentially around 13.5% of Australians now own cryptocurrency, which was up from 5%. Obviously, those numbers are estimated and round in such, but does give you an idea that the interest has dramatically improved and gained, which is really interesting as such. You can see definitely still continued interest in the cryptocurrency space. Now, just to take a completely sideways look, the Elon Musk appeared on the Joe Rogan show last week, and some real cracker memes are coming out. And just to bring some humor to this market, which is out right now, Joel, bring us up some of these new tweets. When Bitcoin price dips, but you're a hodler. I don't know. I just love this moment. Joel, can we spin this moment here? Can we spin this? This one here. There are so many memes going on right now. I just love this moment here.
Everyone wins.
Come on, man. You want some? You probably can't because of stockholders, right?
I mean, it's legal, right?
It's totally legal.
Okay.
How does that work? Do people get upset at you if you do certain things? There's tobacco and marijuana in there. That's all it is. The combination of tobacco and marijuana.
It's just that moment. Just want to get that right there. It's just. I was just gonna leave that. That's where I'm at. Joel, if you can bring that up for me. That's me with Ethereum Classic. No harm or slight or foul with Ethereum Classic, but there are some coins out there that I just still don't understand. We'll give a final update on prices right now. Bitcoin trading at $6,315. Ethereum at $199, just dipping back under $200. EOS at $5.05. Bitcoin Cash at $4.83. Ripple 27 cents. Neo at $18. And Tron is at 1.98 cents. IOTA at 59 cents. Guys, do subscribe to the Daily Exchange. We're coming at you with all the latest news. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. That's the Daily Exchange. Yeah!